Okay, y'all ready? Okay, thank y'all for being here again today. Larry Letha, Kerr County Sheriff. I'm going to kind of go over some brief notes with y'all real quick, then I'm going to pass it on to the mayor. Hundreds of first responders remain along the Guadalupe River in Kerr County working to reunite families. The large search and rescue effort, including local, state, federal, and volunteer agencies, continue. As of 8 a.m. Central Time, 87 deceased have been recovered in Kerr County, including 56 adults and 30 children. Identification is pending for 19 adults and 7 children, with 1 additional person still unidentified. At present, 5 Camp Mystic campers and 1 counselor still remain unaccounted for. We ask private boats to stay off the Guadalupe River to allow search and rescue teams to operate without any interference. This is a tragic time for us. We're so grateful and thankful for all the resources that have been provided to us to do this job. And I can assure you we will not stop until this mission is complete. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to City Mayor.
Thank you for being here. I'm Joe Herring Jr. I'm Mayor of the City of Kerrville. I want to reassure our community and those families that the city, the county, the state, and the federal experts are working together, not separately, but as one team. If you go inside the Emergency Operations Center, you don't see silos. You see one team. I want to talk briefly about in-kind donations. The outpouring of generosity has been tremendous, and we are grateful. We are working on a new system to accept donations, and when those plans are complete, we will post them online on the city's Facebook page. We are grateful. We need a new system to handle the generosity of the world. Financial donations can still go to communityfoundation.net. That's the community foundation of the Texas Hill Country. Again, we are grateful for the generosity of the world. Over and over, I've asked you to pray. It occurred to me that I haven't asked you for what to pray specifically. Please pray for those who mourn, for those who wait, and for those who help. Now I'd like to call on Lieutenant Colonel Ben Baker.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Ben Baker, Lieutenant Colonel for Texas Game Wardens. I'd like to start out by thanking the Mayor, Sheriff, Chief, our local state partners, Texas Department of Public Safety, and the many others that have responded to this tragic event. We as Texas are strong, and together we face adversity. Your Texas Game Wardens responded in the early mornings of Friday to this tragic event, along with many other local and state partners. Since the early mornings of Friday, your Texas Gamers have had over 300 game wardens in the area, serving the people of the state of Texas and the citizens of Kerr County. Among that, we've searched 26 river miles since the tragic event has started. We've had approximately 444 rescues, 30 recoveries. Some of our resources and assets we have dedicated to this tragic event include 2 helicopters with hoist teams, 12 drone teams, 10 K-9 units, 9 swift water boat crews, 15 airboats, 16 UTVs, and 169 four-wheel drive vehicles. Your Texas Game Wardens will remain here and serving the community. We just ask you to continue to pray for the victims, for the families, for your first responders, for everyone involved. We'll open it up now to questions. If anybody has any.
Can you talk about how challenging it is for you guys in the mud, the big trees? What's it been like with the different terrain?
No, thank you for that question. Extremely challenging. You know, we've got, of course, your Texas Game Wardens out there, your local, your state partners, Texas Task Force 1. We've got the National Forest Service out there. We've got A&M Forest Service. We've got numerous responders with specialized capabilities where we've got these large pile of debris. And with our canines and you know, when we're trying to make these recoveries, these large piles can be very obstructive. And to get deep into these piles, it's very hazardous. And those specialized teams have to go in there layer by layer because our first responders, also the safety of them is concerned. So it's extremely treacherous, time-consuming, it's dirty work, the water's still there. So we're having to go layer by layer, peeling these off to make those recoveries.
What about mentally? Like when you guys stumble across someone who may be deceased, how do you process that?
Absolutely. We process it the best we can. We have professionals in place, our crisis intervention team. All the agencies have some members representing there, and officer wellness is a first responder wellness is a key component to these operations. So we're maintaining and monitoring our officer wellness, our first responder wellness. We're making sure they have the support. It's very tragic whenever you see human life, but to see a child and that loss of life is extremely tragic.
More rain
I have
is
a
expected
question.
to come down west of us, and eventually it's going to get down to Guadalupe River. Is that going to put a halt to the searches? And if not, how are you going to change the trajectory of the search and rescue operations?
So with the water coming down, that is always a concern, and I'm sure you've been monitoring the last couple of days where we've had some reports of maybe some additional water coming in. Obviously, that's going to impact the search and recovery efforts. You know, us with numerous other agencies do have air capabilities, drone capabilities. We've got numerous fixed wing rotary helicopters here. So it will alter our patrol patterns and alter our searches, but it won't deter them.
I have a
Can you
question for
outline
the
what
for
specific discussions and actions were taken between the time the first flood emergency alert came in at 1:14 a.m. and then when the river first started flooding, those hours later? What were the specific actions and discussions that happened in those hours?
Can you repeat that again, please?
Sure, absolutely. I would like to know if you could outline, please, what the specific actions and discussions were that local officials took between 1:14 a.m., that's when the first flood emergency alert came out, and hours later when the river first started flooding. What happened in those hours?
What I can tell you, when I was first notified, it was around the 4 to 5 area. One of my sergeants was in dispatch when the first calls started coming in, the actual 911 calls come in.
like at 4 in the morning.
It was between 4 and 5 when I got notified. Okay, but prior to that, in that 3 to 4 area, my understanding is, and we're in the process of trying to put a timeline. You know, that's going to take a little bit of time. As I've told you several times, that is not my priority this time. There's 3 priorities. That's locating the people out there, identifying and notifying the next of kin. That is what I'm taking as my job as sheriff here to do. Okay.
With all due respect, sir, I think that the community here is asking these questions. What happened? When did it happen? Was the emergency manager awake at the time? Did they push the button to issue an emergency alert?
Sir, it's not that easy when you just push a button, okay? There's a lot more to that. And we've told you several times.
So did it happen, sir?
I can't tell you at this time,
You
okay?
can't tell me if the emergency manager of the county actually issued an emergency alert.
Okay, Sheriff, who
Shimon,
is
just give me a second.
the
Answer
Emergency
the question.
Operations Center? Who runs
Let him answer the question.
The Emergency Operations
I'll come back to you. I ain't going nowhere.
Appreciate it.
Who runs the Emergency Operations Center?
We have a communication center, a dispatch, okay? We have a communication center. That's where the calls actually go to the police department, then they're forwarded to us.
But leading up to this, in monitoring the weather, there's an In any large city, in any state, there's an Office of Emergency Management that is monitoring the weather, that is watching and listening and getting briefings. Who was getting those briefings in this city, in this county? Who was receiving that information? And who would have ultimately made the decision to evacuate, hearing what was coming in from the Weather Service and other people?
Okay, what we would have done when we get notified, okay, I'm gonna tell you.
You're not emergency management though, right? The sheriff's not EOC.
No, there is no, I meant as the city. Yeah, I'll do that.
So we understand you have many questions.
Right.
Hang on.
No, I understand, but you're not gonna answer the question because that's up to the city manager and the mayor to answer those
Correct.
It's the county emergency.
We understand you have many questions.
Where is the judge? The judge is not here.
We understand that, but right now, this team up here is focused on bringing people home. That's our focus. All those questions will be answered, but the priority right now
It seems like you're done
is bringing people home.
We totally understand that, and we value the incredible work that is being done by those first responders. We're seeing them out there muddy and sweaty and grinding it out day after day. But your community is asking these questions.
And we will get answers. Right now, all of our resources are focused
You should be able to
to
answer
recovery.
Who was in charge of the Emergency Operations Center at the time that was getting any briefing?
Do we have another question?
if any
I
briefings?
do. I think I'd like to focus on what local people can be looking for. We're looking at some erosion in roads and safety and them traveling. What can we tell people who live here right now and what they can do in their daily life? Should they worry about traveling on roads? Do we know anything about that infrastructure?
Sure, absolutely. Jonathan Lamb, Kerrville Police Department. So we know that there's substantial road damage. Some roads have been closed for safety. We've got crews out there in the county shoring them up and making sure that people can travel to and from. What we're asking for the public to do to assist us is if they believe that they have seen someone, a victim, notify emergency services. Call 911, let us know, or use our non-emergency numbers, area code 830-257-8181. Contact our dispatch team and we will send officers out there. We also ask folks to limit their travel. Our first responders have had a very difficult time getting to where they need to go because of the amount of people who are flooding our roadways. We understand there's natural curiosity. People want to come here and see the flood damage. Now is not the time for sightseeing. This operation is ongoing and continuous, and it will continue. I've got time for one more question. Last question. As far as I know, the last live rescue, unless there's new information, and I don't believe there is, was made on Friday. All right, I'm afraid that's going to have to do it for this morning.
Can someone answer if the bodies have been released to the families, Sheriff?
Excuse me.
Have the bodies been released to the families?
Some. I mean, they're at autopsy. I mean,
You're still missing. Do you have an estimate among the general population, not just the girls from Mystic, even just credible reports? Is it hundreds still? Is there any estimate among the general population of how many people are missing?
no, I've told y'all several times, it's hard to know that number. No, we don't. I know the numbers that we have found, and that's all I know.
You still don't want to tell us who is
All right, so we're going to continue our operations. The next time that we're going to be in front of y'all will be at 5 p.m. right back here. If there is a critical update, again, we'll provide that information to you through the contact list that you have provided to us. Thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Lieutenant? Sir, I have one other question. Maybe you can help. It was about the volunteers that are coming. Is there a central area for them?